6:35, want to call the Transportation Committee meeting to order. All members are here. Also in attendance is Larry and Julie. Any public comments? No? Okay, we're going to talk about bus purchase.
Yes, sir. So I believe, Kelly, you came and talked to the board in December
Correct.
about transportation and the need for, we skipped a few years in terms of getting big buses, and so now she has a proposal for you guys on a large bus out of Midwest. So Kelly, go ahead.
Correct. So as I had talked to you guys about in December, Jim and I went through the fleet, decided that we are in need of a 77-passenger big bus before getting a little bus. And I also had proposed that we buy a 2-year-old lease bus. One major thing, cheaper, quite a bit cheaper, about $30,000 to $50,000 cheaper than buying a new bus. Plus, a new bus would not be able to go into start of production until minimally a year from now, December to January of next school year. The other things that Jim had brought up to me about doing a 2-year lease bus is that we're still reaping the benefits of COVID. Those buses were not driven as much that first year, so we're looking at a lot lower miles on a, yes, used bus, yes, it's 2 years old, but still like new type of condition. However, we kind of are on a little bit of a time crunch because there are only 3 left. They're scooping them up fast.
Sure.
There was probably maybe 10 back in December. I know we've had some issues here at the high school and stuff that had to be taken care of and everything else, but we need to lock down, one of these big buses for sure.
And Kelly, when you say lockdown, you don't mean that we're writing a check tomorrow.
Correct.
You mean we need
Like
to.
reserving.
Yeah, we
Yes,
need the board to
reserve.
make a commitment
Yes.
that, yes, indeed.
And delivery on this bus is projected to be June of this summer. And at that time, that's when they would expect payment.
How many miles running?
I don't, of the 3, he gave me an approximate mileage of about 25 to 28,000.
And that's probably high. honestly.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, he's got covered rear end, but they usually don't.
Like I said, there's
Okay.
3 that I last talked to him last week, he gave in.
Yeah, during COVID, there was districts turning in buses with 1,000 miles on them. That would normally have 15 and 18
Wow.
miles.
And the type of bus, manufacturer?
International.
International. Good.
Yep.
And it's a diesel.
And it is diesel, yes, yes. Purchase price is approximately 99,000. New would be 130 to 150,000.
I know you work on them, so.
Oh, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
I'm all, I've said it before, the feature realm of things with our transportation, we never wear out a bus. The elements of our region writes a bus out of service well before us typically wearing out the bus. So that's number one. And with these, I would buy a lease bus if I had my own bus business again any day of the week, because they're you're pretty much, they're taking off about $15,000 to $18,000 a year just because somebody else drove it for a year. And you know what, after we own it a year, it's
Yep.
a year old too. So, we have bought new buses because of, the biggest thing is with our big buses are, the big buses are pretty much standard. There's not a lot of change in a big bus. I hate to say they're all the same, but they're all kind of the same, except for the number of seats. We like to get to 77 passenger this year, and last year really saved our butts with the career center,
Yeah,
having that extra row of seats.
Oh,
The negativeness is, it's the same size bus with another row of seats. They don't make the physical bus any bigger. We just,
Yeah,
we just shrink them in a little.
Yeah, the seats are slightly
The only
shorter,
comfortable
but
seat
yeah.
is the driver's seat, for the
Yeah,
record. Okay,
right.
That's the only comfortable seat of the bus.
I would agree.
When we come to our minibuses is why we always try to push for new, because with our special needs concerns, you don't go out and buy a used minibus, number one, that doesn't have a million miles on it, like what we do already, and then 2 is equipped exactly what we need.
Sure.
So, big bus lease returns, I hate to say they're a dime a dozen, but they're not now because they're scooping them up,
Yeah.
but to buy a lease return bus, it's not like there's any options on them that they won't have that we don't already use.
Yeah, all of Grand Parks are already bought, all of Bradley Bourbonnais are already bought, obviously Hershey's are.
Yeah, there's still schools reaping, they're like Mantino didn't even get their new lease buses until November.
Well, we
They-
canceled our last one because it sat forever.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't even start
That was a
manufacturing
new-
it.
that was
The
a brand new-
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was a-
That was last time. It didn't even get produced and we
Yeah.
approved it and everything for like a year.
Yeah.
And just to let you know, even to try to purchase a minibus, like if there's any chance for even trying for 2 lease returns, a minibus, there's still a huge delay with the GM and the issues with the chips, and because GM went out to all the dealers that normally they promise so many chassis to and cut it back to like a third. So that's kind of what happened to Bluebird too. They thought they had all these, and then also GM says, we're only gonna give you 200 out of the 700 that you wanted. And that's what led to the problems of not being able to get our hands locked on a bus.
So this bus is in addition to or replacing a different bus?
No, these will be replacing.
Yeah,
Replacement.
at the last meeting, I did say it would be an addition. After Jim and I are talking, we do have 2 buses that probably could be removed from the fleet.
How old are those?
Our bus 5 is a 2011.
Oh, no,
Or
2004.
2001, yeah, it's
Four,
early
3.
2000s, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, and then bus 11 is.
Keep in mind, Bus 5 is one of those original Freightliners
Yeah.
that they purchased a long time ago. It has a 4-cylinder Mercedes engine. Good luck getting any parts for that. It's one of those things where once something happens to it, it's gonna be put out.
Do you
the pasture.
trade that in then, or what do you do?
No, we don't get.
It's
any-
scrap.
We scrap.
Okay.
Hey, it's,
You said 2, but we're discussing 1.
yes, 1,
We're
yes.
discussing one.
So,
Right.
Wait.
Yeah.
Tell us what you need,
We definitely need minimally 1.
one, so you need one.
However,
So you could use 2.
we definitely
Jack,
could
could we
use 2.
squeeze 2?
So this is all gonna be on the budget for next year, so if it's delivered in June, it would be in July.
So here's why we are slightly asking for 2.
Yeah.
1, we did not get a new bus last year. That bus was never put on board.
Right.
The bus that you were, actually
that's
talking about was a canceled, then we put in for a minibus, that minibus never got approved.
So the question isn't that, it's, can we get 2?
Well,
Jack.
here's my other thing though, is
Wait,
if we buy
yeah,
2
can we get 2?
leases.
You
We're
can do
already
whatever-
at a deficit.
You can do whatever you
so-
want.
I'm just thinking,
Yeah, what do we
Is
need?
it in the budget to get, can we do the budget?
But with
to get-
this-
If we need
this-
2 buses?
So
taking advantage of this COVID.
one way or
lease
another,
thing,
here, let me answer
I mean,
Mr. Hernandez's question. One way or another, we will be deficit spending again next year, regardless. Now, I shouldn't say that. Next year will be deficit spending. So, can we make the budget work to where we can absorb the cost of $100,000? The answer to that is yes, we could. It just makes it more difficult. $100,000, as you know, is a lot of money.
But
What's the
considering what they're
advantage?
saying. So my thing is, look, we're talking about the safety of the kids. We
Okay.
transport 77 kids on these buses, right? I would rather spend the money on the safety of the kids and you cut it somewhere else. That's my own personal belief, but I will definitely say yes to 1 and ask the committee maybe, what do you think about 2 since it's a better deal?
Well, it's not so much a
What's the
better deal, what do
advantage
we
of
need?
the
We
2?
need 2, the
the
mechanics tell me.
advantage of 2 as of
Well, so
right
we
now
want-
is you're looking at about $35,000 savings per bus.
Up to 100, because it depends, it's $30,000 to $50,000 per bus that we would be saving versus new.
So you're looking at $60,000 savings.
So we're talking at 2
If you
turned
wanted
in,
to.
2 used
Correct.
lease buses.
So that would cover our fleet for how long, you think? I know you work on them.
Oh, I mean, well, that would get rid of our, I mean, that gets us back into buses that we can get parts for, that are still, I hate to say it like that, but honestly, that is the.
I know, I understand.
That's the honest answer,
So the 2 buses would put our fleet in there and would make for all of our kids in Beachstone, you would save that ride.
Yes, and that would,
And trips and everything else, yeah.
What's the
But
third
that's 2
oldest bus?
replacements. Originally, we wanted an addition. So how is just replacing?
Like, is there
2 still
any
giving us
other
enough?
that is close to
well,
those,
see, so
or?
here's the thing, the oldest bus is Bus 5, that's the old Freightliner, it's
Yeah.
2004. Then we go into Bus 11, which Cheryl Lehman drove the wheels off of for her entire
Yes.
career
Yeah.
here. So that's, so now we're like up to 2006, 2007. After that, we go into Bus 18 and 17, which were bought together.
Okay,
They're one bid number apart from each other.
Wow. Sister buses.
and how old are those?
You're looking at 2011.
Okay.
So-
Oh, that's a huge difference. Like
Yeah.
then,
But still old, yes.
But still,
I mean,
Those would be our sub buses.
like, we just spent $5,000 or $4,500 on Bus 18 because of the brake issues, the brake system.
okay.
And you just have to do it. There's no way around it. But, there comes a point like old Bus 5, if you put $1,000 into it, then you're not getting out of it.
Right.
So I guess I want to ask the committee members, 1 or 2. Ron,
Definitely one, but I'm open to two.
Ashley?
Well, my original question still stands. We were told we needed in addition, another bus.
Right,
No, but if
right.
we're just replacing two, are we still not adequate? Do we need three?
You only,
I mean,
Oh, I
no, but
don't think
that's
you're
my-
asking for an additional. I
Okay.
think they were.
Well, that's what
all-
you had mentioned, or in addition, so that's why I was like, hang on a minute, because we were talking about we didn't have enough buses, but now we're just replacing. So that's what I want to make
It
sure.
it sounds like two in this
Okay.
fleet are in need of replacement.
Everything gets passed down.
right.
Yeah,
Everything goes from a main bus to a sub bus, you know, and you have to think about it now is that, here's one of the issues that lies, and I'm saying they're all, I mean, the ones we use every day are dependable.
yeah.
But certain drivers that drive them every day in town because they don't get a lot of miles and they're older buses, now all of a sudden tomorrow they have a trip to Peoria. No way.
Okay, so I
So
think,
now we're switching and changing and this is going to that person and that to this person because,
And I apologize that since I'm newer, to not realize that we were replacing at least bus 5 at the previous meeting, so
And-
actually that's my fault.
That's it,
So-
that's all, I just wanted to make sure, because I was like, wait, I'm
and the
confused.
the reason why we threw in two at you is because our salesman from Midwest who has the lease, the return buses that we asked about, he accidentally put our name on 3 of them.
3.
By accident.
That's why there's only 3.
That's why they're still
Because
there.
otherwise, we would not even
His
have
other-
the one that I proposed.
His other salesman would already snatched them.
We found that out last week when he.
Which he normally doesn't like, salesmen don't like to do that to each other, but
Right.
he's literally going through his iPad, standing in the shop, it's like, oh, I accidentally put your name on 3 as a hold. But there comes a point that you can only hold so long, so that's
So
why.
I would
The
like-
answer to 3 is no.
yeah, so I
I promise.
Hey, Jim, a couple years back, the board came over and asked you for a safety report, and
Yep.
you told us 3, 5, 6, 7 years on many buses, and true to your word. So with these two, you think this would make our fleet
Oh, it
safer?
definitely could make
and
a big
definitely
difference.
Oh,
longer?
absolutely, yeah.
And then, I'd like to live into some of this, go a little farther, then next year, we might propose, of course, a mini.
I mean,
And you have to remember that we're trying, like, we already made one of our yellow minis a white bus.
Yeah.
And
And the
like,
coaches love it. even
Yeah,
though,
they're using it so much.
Yeah,
And-
Shirley
Yeah.
today was talking to me about it. during-
Yeah.
one of my ideas is that if we can pass down the decent, like the bus we made a white bus,
Yeah.
had to have an engine put in it.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's a perfect candidate to be a painted white bus, because if we're gonna spend money on a paint job, it's gonna be around a little longer, to be more dependable.
Yep,
I like to see even maybe a year or two another white bus.
yeah.
And then me personally, since some of our school vehicles, like our
Food truck, the
food
food
janitor
van.
stuff,
Yes.
those white buses can be easily passed down into maintenance.
Especially the
Oh,
ones that have the
yeah.
wheelchair lift.
That's
So
really
when
smart.
you look at us getting one mini yellow bus, mini bus, it's actually
Because
doing
maintenance,
more for you
those are
down the
decrepit
line.
as well, yes.
So just to throw that out there,
That
I
would be
mean,
next year.
that's something we think about that
Yeah,
doing.
that you're continuing to use it. The COVID lease thing and the low mileage there, I mean, that is very valuable.
That's why we.
That is
kinda
really-
save too.
Right,
Nothing's-
but you
nothing's
you
going
also
down.
have to remember, contract negotiations are happening, and we have those additional expenses too. And I know we can say we wanna do all this, but
This
we
is why I
already
appreciate you
know we
actually
have a
tying in.
deficit. We already know that we're going to have more of a deficit next year, because we're going to give teachers raises.
Are you talking
And all
about
those
kid
are-
safety? You're not talking about,
Are these not safe? Are the children in danger at this current time?
Well, bus 11 is out of service right now.
Which we all agree one bus, cause that's, we
Yeah.
went. But that's what I'm saying, the second one, if,
They're,
that's what you have to discuss. I mean, yes, you can save a little $30,000 as of now, but in the big picture of things, I mean, we do have reserves and stuff, but this is what we need to think of to be fiscally responsible. Like 100,000 here, 100,000 here. Oh, it's raining money. We don't have money to rain.
If you can get it now before, because tomorrow.
Oh, I know, I'm just saying, this is a
Nine today
discussion we
is-
need to
is a
have.
quarter
like-
tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, if they got this
Yeah.
great deal, and I believe the superintendent has it under control, and,
one thing that I see though,
Sorry.
that, like, we're coming at you for, like, lease
Yeah.
return bus, and this is a general cost. But I don't know if there's one thing that you guys, like, see, because you don't, is the maintenance that goes into them and the cost that goes into them. So, I mean, I could keep a bus going for 40 years,
Yeah.
but you're gonna pay for it 3 times,
Yeah.
So you gotta think about, that's something that you guys don't necessarily see, because I don't wanna use the word nickel and dime, I mean, but they have to be kept to a certain
Yeah.
standard. And there comes a point you gotta pull the plug,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, and that's why
Okay,
we
so-
appreciate you being here for.
So I'd like to just make a recommendation, right? Go for the 2 buses, Jack, sorry, make your job a little bit harder.
All right.
That's the safety of the kids I'm really worried about. I think we'll cut it somewhere else. So can we take a vote on that?
We don't cut it, just come out of reserves probably. But that's why it's there.
And
It's for these
temporary.
people.
So.
And if you think about it, we skipped last year, so it's really not.
I'm a yes.
It's already
You're a
spent.
yes?
Yes.
I'm a yes. It's
Yeah.
a yes. Can we
I would
bring
support that.
Can we bring that to the board then? For 2?
Well, you don't have to worry about, you don't have to actually approve it until June when you actually buy it. But yeah, I'll have it as a resolution for you guys on before.
Anything else?
So
No, there's nothing
Well,
else.
but the thing with this is also buying a bus, the other thing you have to put in there too is we're gonna have to fabricate it with the cameras and stuff like that. Can we take
Yes.
them off the old and the new, or do we have to have them come out and we have to get just an addition to? Because if we're using the buses for other purposes, they still need cameras.
The current 2 that we would take out of service do not have the ProVision
Okay.
cameras in them.
I thought they all had cameras. I thought that
No,
was
we did
part of
not
the thing
do
with
the
Austin.
entire
We
fleet.
kind of cut it short and kept it to the on-route buses only at that time.
Right.
But
Yes.
any day that I'm in a spare bus because a bus goes to a basketball game,
Then we
then
have that
I'm
247.
not in one.
But you have to make a commitment now.
I do, because once these 3
So-
buses go up, there, I guarantee there's a waiting list.
You never pay for a bus until the date of delivery. You have never paid for a bus until the day they deliver.
Today, all I would have to know is if I have the okay to hold 2.
2.
2, not 3, yes, 2.
Yeah, two, yeah. then
That's
they'll
all I
let-
went to check.
We'll
I was
make
like,
some
oh,
other dishes.
right?
Yep, yep.
Safety of the kids is big.
Great.
And to have it in June, that's,
Yeah, then, but so
That's
that
big,
both of them
that's
would be
huge.
here in June, yeah, because they're both would be available at that time together.
Okay, perfect. Anything else?
I have nothing else.
Smile, Jack.
I'm smiling.
I'm sorry. Thank you so much.
We just appreciate you listening.
Yes.
Listening to us.
Well, I know you work on them, so that's what I
Yeah, that, one of the reasons I brought him is because since I'm newer, he would have probably answers to questions that you guys would ask that I may not quite know.
The day I got hired, they asked me what your big asset would be, and I said, well, if you think of it like it's your own,
Yeah.
you make pretty good decisions. And I'm a farmer and have semis and
Yep.
buy $1 million fire trucks,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yep.
you gotta think of it like it's your own. And there comes a point, even your own car, you pull the, you got.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks.
Very good. Any more public comment? Nothing? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you again for
Yeah.
waiting for us.